What's up, guys? Welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding. And in this video, I want to talk about building your physique by working on your weak points. This is mostly applicable for intermediate and advanced lifters. If you're a beginner, this is not really applicable to you because you can still grow regardless of what you do at the start. You can do the basics, train 3 to 4 times a week. I will make a video about that. Beginner splits, intermediate splits, and advanced workout splits. Those are coming very soon after this video. But I want to talk to you about designing your own workout split as a starting video of this series based off of fixing your weak points, because that is something that you have to do once you have been lifting a couple of years. A lot of people stop seeing the progress they want to see. They do grow overall, but the weak points, when you got a weak point, like for example, I have the upper chest weak point. It's not as full as I want to. It may be growing, but if the rest grows as fast as the upper chest, relative to the rest of my body, my upper chest will remain a weak point despite it growing. It's not lacking behind in terms of growth, but it's lacking behind in terms of how it looks compared to the rest of the physique. That is something I want to talk to you about, and I'm going to start with that right now. So I'm going to give you an example of my own workout split. I'm telling you what I'm doing so you can be inspired to do it yourself with your own workout splits. But of course, I'm always available. This is my email right here. You can always send me an email and I will make you customized workout plans in which I take into account what I'm about to say and a lot more, because I'm asking you questions through the email, but you'll find out if you're interested in that. Anyway, let's get started. So my weak points are the upper chest, in combination with my triceps a little bit, my legs in overall, but mostly my hamstrings and my traps. Can be a little bigger, especially the thickness on the back. Now those are my main weak points that I want to fix. I get a lot of people who contact me through email for the custom workout plans, and they have this list of weak points, and it's basically a full body routine that they basically should be doing. And usually those are beginners, and when you're a beginner, as I mentioned at the start, doing the basics will bring you a lot further than all those specific isolation exercises. But I'll make a video about that, as I mentioned. Right, so let's get started. On Monday, what I like to start the week with is not chest, but legs. And I train legs twice a week because legs are my weak point, as I told you, quads and the hamstrings. But I've already made workout splits in the past, which you can see right here. You can click on those and see the difference between them. But what I can tell you right now is that the volume will go down quite a lot. The amount of times I train and the amount of exercises I do. Those two things will go down in order for my body to prioritize growing the weak points up more. So Monday I do quads, calves, and traps. Now, I'm going to tell you why I add traps in a second. But quads and calves, let's start with those. I used to do 5 to 6 exercises to work on my legs on a Monday. Now I only do 3 exercises. For example, I started with the leg extension, but instead of doing just 3 to 4 sets as most people do, I do 5 to 6 sets and almost going to failure every set, except the first 2, warming the knees up, but then going heavier and heavier, not really counting the reps specifically. I don't want to have in my head, oh, I'm going to do 10 reps, and when I hit 10 I stop. When I'm able to do 5 more reps, for example on set number 3 and 4, I will hit those 5 reps until I hit failure or very near failure. The last set, and this is for every single exercise that you do, because the volume goes down, the intensity goes up. That is something you have to keep in mind. Every single exercise, every single set has its own meaning, has its own purpose. So when you do the leg extension, you fully stretch the quads and contract the quads as if it's the only exercise you're doing today. But it's not. You're doing 3. That is also something mental that you will go through when you know that you still have 5 to 6 exercises to go after doing the first exercise. You're like, if I go all out right now, how am I going to go through the last exercises? But if you only have to do 3, you can go all out on all of them. And it will feel a lot better. You will feel more satisfied and be able to do more weight, which is all beneficial for muscle growth. So, when you're done with the leg extension, you should feel a pump in your legs, in your quads. This is important. What you want to do then is hit a compound movement, and I have a choice of 2 on this day. One of the first exercises you should do after leg extension is either the back squat or the front squat, one of those 2, or the hack squat. Both of those exercises are absolutely amazing for the quads, also the glutes, also the hamstrings, but mostly the quads because you already pre-exhausted them during the first exercise. And now you don't want to do three sets, you don't want to do 5 sets, you don't want to do 7 sets, you want to do at least 8 solid sets. And you go all out, especially during the last few sets. Now, you don't want to go to failure on every set here, but go to failure at least during the last 2 sets. That is how you put the intensity in the workout. And your rest pauses should not be an infinite amount of time. They should be pretty short as well, so that you don't get cold legs in between sets. They have to remain pumped, remain warm, and you don't want to spend too much time in between sets. Now the third exercise is basically want to finish off your legs. I sometimes do hack squat last, or if you started with hack squat, you can do squat last, or you can do dumbbell lunges last, or a narrow leg press, because that targets the quads. So then you have 2 calf exercises, and this is simple. You do 4 sets or 4 to 5 sets, full range of motion, either the standing or the seated calf raise. For example, if you start with the seated, do 5 sets all the way down, all the way up, making sure that the last 2 sets are very heavy, 6 to 8 reps, and the last set are a few forced reps if you have a spotter. Now then you can either change to one-legged seated calf raises, or you change to standing calf raises, as long as a different angle on the calves using different muscle fibers. And you repeat the same process, 4 to 5 sets, the last 2 sets very heavy, and going beyond failure on the last few reps of those sets. And that was leg day, but I add some trap work. Why? Because the traps aren't really attached to any specific workout day. Some might say, well, when you train back, you hit the traps. Sure, but when you train shoulders, you hit the traps. Well, even when you train legs, when you do the squat, you have the bar right here, you contract the traps. So you basically either use them a little bit in each workout, or you use them a lot, depending on how you train. But I like to do them on days where I don't use them a lot, so that I can focus on them fully and completely. On leg day, usually, unless you do stiff leg deadlifts, you still have a lot of grip strength left, so you can do very heavy shrugs. I already showed you this in the last leg video, the hamstrings and shrug video, where I do very heavy barbell shrugs. Again, I only do 1 exercise for this, 7 to 8 sets, very heavy. You were able to see that the last set I went very heavy to failure. You cannot really go beyond failure on this one unless you do it in a Smith machine, or you have 2 spotters on each side of the barbell, but it's a little bit, difficult to do. So you basically go beyond failure if you just do half reps during the few last reps of the last few sets. But that's for traps. And that's what I implemented because it's one of my weak points. So after legs, I do traps. And I do this, the traps, I do that 3 times a week. One time on a Monday, one time on a Thursday, and one time either during Wednesday or on Saturday, one of the chest workouts. Then I like to add some traps as well. So Tuesday is a rest day, then we go to Wednesday, and that is the first chest day. And as I mentioned at the start, the upper chest is a weak point. So what I like to do is start off with the upper chest. Why start off with the upper chest? Because you want to have the most energy put in to your weak points, and when you have the most energy during the workout at the start. So you have a couple of exercises you can do. I like to do an isolation exercise first, purely focusing on the upper chest and not doing shoulder movements, not doing tricep movements, only the upper chest. So just contract it purely. What I like to do is either low to high cable flies. As you can see right here, those work the upper chest really well. It's an isolation one. Or you can do the regular flies with cables targeting the upper chest, or you can do one-armed flies, as you can see right here that I did recently for the upper chest. You want to have constant tension, constant rush of blood, and a constant pump in the upper chest, because that'll be beneficial for the next exercise, because that will be a compound exercise, which means you use multiple muscles. Now, that can either be the bench press, the dumbbell press, the incline bench press, whatever you prefer, as long as you get the work in. And what I mean with that is correct form, full range of motion, 4 to 5 sets, increasing the sets a little bit because I'm only doing 4 exercises for chest. And then I do another compound as the third exercise, and that can be a regular chest press or an incline chest press, a dip, which is also very good, bodyweight dips or machine dips, just a basic compound movement for the chest. And then we hit the last exercise, which is another upper chest isolation exercise. So it's basically a sandwich format in which you start with an isolation upper chest exercise and end with an isolation upper chest exercise. So you can end actually with the dumbbell pullover, which I love very much. This is an isolation exercise. It's a little difficult because it requires mind-muscle connection. You can do this with the dumbbell or the cables, or you can do again some kind of flies on the pec deck using your elbows going up, targeting the upper chest like this, or something like that with the cables, and then you're done with chest. And then you hit the triceps, because it's also a weak point of mine. I hit triceps twice a week, just like chest, the upper chest. And that is just going to be the basic work that I've always done, which is working right now. My triceps are improving. That is the lying French press, for example, with a superset, with a close grip bench press, with an EG curl bar, the rope push down, the tricep bar push down, straight bar, the underhand grip push down for the triceps. Just play around with different exercises every time, making sure you hit different angles. If you do 2 exercises, hit 4 sets on each exercise. If you do 3 exercises, hit 3 sets on each exercise. It depends on the workout. We hit Thursday. That is a lot like Monday, another leg day, but this time we do hamstrings. And again, start out with an isolation exercise. For example, the lying leg curl, which is the best scientifically proven exercise that puts most of the load on the hamstrings. And you don't want to go heavy with this because it's an isolation exercise. You don't want to include the glutes, you don't want to include the lower back. As you can see right here, I'm not moving the upper body. This is a standing leg curl. I showed this in the previous video as well. I'm not going heavy with this at all. I could go 2 to 3 times as heavy, but then I'll be using the glutes and the lower back. So start out with one isolation exercise like this, 4 to 5 sets, going to failure the last 2 sets, and then do another compound. What you can do is wide grip squats, or you can do wide grip leg presses, stuff like that. And then end off with stiff-legged deadlifts, either with the dumbbell or the barbell. And that's my favorite for glute hamstring tie-in development. Also go pretty heavy on this one, making sure you feel the stretch and when you go up the contraction of the glutes. And then you do 2 calf exercises as I mentioned before. So now we hit Friday, and that is back day. Now this is a kind of a special day because I used to train back twice a week, but a lot of people, including me, think that my back is one of my stronger points, at least the width. I can improve on the thickness, but that will be the 3 times traps a week work that will help with the thickness a lot of the entire traps. The traps are a very big muscle that go from here all the way to the middle back, which I can't even reach. As you can see a little bit the shape of it right there in the middle. That'll be all improved by doing heavy barbell shrugs, as long as you concentrate on the contraction and the stretch, if you do it right. And then on back day, I like to do 4 exercises just like on chest, but this time it's more basic. I'm doing, for example, one week I start with 2 width exercises, and the other week I start with 2 thickness exercises. So for example, this week I would do the lat pull down first for the width, and the V-bar pull down, or the small grip pull down, for the width again. Because it's a pull down exercise, you know that it's for the width of the back, for the lats. And then you hit 2 thickness exercises, for example, the T-bar row and the bent over row, the barbell row. And then you've hit your exercises for back. All you gotta do is, like all the other days, hit 4 to 5 sets. Usually 4 sets. The first exercise 5 sets because you're still fresh. But the last 2 sets, go heavy, go hard, go intense. And the last few reps, do pause reps, slow negatives. Just go beyond failure. Push yourself. And that way you don't need to do another exercise. You don't need to, you don't want to, you even can't. Your back is full and it's pumped. My strong point is my rear delt. As you can see, it's pumping out. So what do? I don't train rear delts anymore. Why would I train it if it's a strong point and I want to improve on a weak point? If you keep working as hard as on your strong points as the rest, it will remain disproportionate. In my side chest, when I do this, the rear delt pops out more, but the upper chest doesn't pop out as much as I want to. And if I keep training both of them as hard, at the same rate, at the same intensity, neither one is going to change with respect to each other. The upper chest needs to grow compared to the rear delts. So I stopped training rear delts. They're not going to disappear. They're still actually gonna grow from the back work that I do. Even the shrugs will activate the rear delts. If you have a strong point, don't be afraid. You're not gonna lose it. It will remain there. You just need to train it 1 time a week, or even a secondary work. For example, when you do rowing, when you do a barbell row, you still hit the rear delts automatically. You cannot disengage them from the movement because those are compound movements, and compound movements use multiple muscles. And then I do 3 bicep exercises, always 3 at least, because I only train biceps once a week and I want to maintain this peak, don't we? Look at that. There you go, Jay Cutler. Boom, boom. So what I like to do is always start with a basic one, a barbell curl, then hit a preacher curl, for example, and a concentration curl, or a hammer curl. All 3, the first exercise is 4 sets, and then 2 exercises of 3 sets, but making sure that the last set is always beyond failure. And that was Friday. Then Saturday is another chest workout, which I already explained. It's the exact same as the previous one. Start with an isolation, end with an isolation with 2 compounds in between and 2 to 3 tricep exercises. And then I like to hit the side delts after each chest exercise with just one machine, 4 sets, or dumbbells 4 sets, but that's it, because my shoulders are pretty much developed in comparison to the rest of my body, and they will keep developing because they are involved in different movements throughout the week. And then Sunday is rest day, so that is my workout split. I reduced the volume, I upped the intensity, upped it by a lot. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will release 3 more videos about this subject. Those will be shorter ones. This is just a more elaborate one, explaining my own workout split and the reasoning behind it. I've given people workout splits of 6 days a week, 5 days a week. That's all possible. I used to do it myself for years. Training 6 times a week, 5 exercises per body part. I grew on it quite well. But after a while, implementing competitions, months and months on end of a caloric deficit, work, school, stress, all that combined, your body's not able to accumulate the muscle mass that you were able to accumulate if you didn't work out as much. That is the mental attitude you have to have. Less, sometimes in bodybuilding, is more. So, 3 more videos, one for the beginners, one for the intermediates, and one for the advanced / competitive bodybuilder. I'm making these videos so that you can learn something from them, take 1, 2, 3 things and implement it in your workout and see what it does for you. That is all these videos are for. If you have any suggestions for other videos, please comment down below. I am absolutely excited about how you guys are interacting with the channel. I'm very happy with the fan base that Vintage Genetics has got. So any ideas that you guys may have about videos, I'm very happy to do them. This week has been a pretty busy week for me. And if you're interested in letting you into my personal life a little more, please comment down below as well. I want to hear feedback because ultimately you guys will decide what I am going to post on this channel. I want this channel to be about helping you, entertaining you, and be all about classic bodybuilding. Because what I don't want you guys to do is to forget to stay golden. Don't.
Let's die. This is how it's supposed to be done.
What's up guys, welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding. And in this video I want to talk about building your physique by working on your weak points. This is mostly applicable for intermediates and advanced lifters. If you're a beginner, this is not really applicable to you because you can still grow regardless of what you do at the start. You can do the basics, train for chest weak point. It's not as full as I want to. It may be growing, but if the rest grows as fast as the upper chest, relative to the rest of my body, my upper chest will remain a weak point despite it growing. It's not lacking behind in terms of growth, but it's lacking behind in terms of how it looks compared to the rest of the physique. That is something I want to talk to you about, and I'm going to start with that right now. So I'm going to give you an example of my own workout split. I'm telling you what I'm doing so you can be inspired to do it yourself with your own workout splits, especially the thickness on the back. Now those are my main weak points that I want to fix. I get a lot of people who contact me through email for the custom workout plans, and they have this list of weak points, and it's basically a full body routine that they basically should be doing. And usually those are beginners, and when you're a beginner, as I mentioned at the start, doing the basics will bring you a lot further than all those specific isolation exercises, but I'll make a video about that as I mentioned. Right, so let's get started. On Monday, what I like to do, what I like to 3 to 4 times a week, I will make a video about that. Beginner splits, intermediate splits, and advanced workout splits. Those are coming very soon after this video. But I want to talk to you about designing your own workout split as a starting video of this series based off of fixing your weak points, because that is something that you have to do once you have been lifting a couple of years. A lot of people stop seeing the progress they want to see. They do grow overall, but the weak points, when you got a weak point, like for example, I have the ups, but of course I'm always available. This is my email right here. You can always send me an email and I will make you customized workout plans in which I take into account what I'm about to say and a lot more, because I'm asking you questions through the email, but you'll find out if you're interested in that. Anyway, let's get started. So my weak points are the upper chest, in combination with my triceps a little bit, my legs in overall, but mostly my hamstrings and my traps. Can be a little bit